So I used to say that I couldn't decide if I was indecisive. I think that's funny. They should put that on one of those like country signs, you know, that people put over their mantles. Well, I have gotten much better, and it's thanks to a couple of strategies, some of which I wrote about in my blog. And I practice these things because it's necessary. It was necessary for my mental health, because honestly, when you second guess things, they can get out of control. You can start to not only doubt the decision, but doubt yourself to be able to make that decision. And that's not going to be good for anybody, right? So some of these strategies that I use are these. Number one, time boxing. Time boxing is something where you set like a specific amount of time, say 10 or 20 minutes, for you to really think about something. That might be way too much. Maybe you just need 5 minutes. And in that time, you have full right to think about whatever decision you're trying to make as much as you possibly can. Like literally sit there and set a timer and do not move until you decide what to do. And maybe you need to consider a bunch of different things before you actually decide. That's fine. But once that timer goes off, that's it. It's time to make a decision. And it's okay. It's okay to make that decision. And in fact, the thing with making decisions in my eyes is that it's never a wrong decision. Because once you make that decision, your brain starts to accept it as, okay, this is what we're doing. And once you say, okay, this is what we're doing, then you come up with all of these steps in order to back yourself up, because you're not just going to go through life making a decision for no reason whatsoever. So I have a theory on this, and it is that I don't think there are wrong decisions. I just don't. I think that you might think that it's wrong. Later in life, you look back and you have a regret. I don't do that. I don't have regrets, because I think that I always make decisions with the best information that I have at the time. Like using time boxing is one of those things where we can use a tool to help us kind of get there quicker. But as far as me choosing that thing, I believe in my own ability to do that. I also started tracking my daily wins, and that happens right before I go to bed every day. What that does for me is, first of all, the list becomes massive. Like I usually have about 10 things on my list. I didn't start that way. It started with like, okay, here's my one success of the day. But now that I do it on a regular basis, it's like things come up in my head very easily, because even the smallest win is a win. And once you start doing that, or in my case, it makes me feel more confident, because I see when I look back at the day, like, hey, I was able to actually do this thing and it turned out to be okay, or it turned out to be the best thing for me. And again, over time, then that's going to build up. Like when I look at all of my wins and I track them like I have them on one document on my computer, it's amazing to see how many different things I've done over the past 4 months that I've been really, really religious about doing this. So highly recommend keeping track of daily wins, and it will help you recognize, oh yeah, okay, once I made that decision, then I was able to stick with it, and these are all the things that happened after that. I do think too, like, as much as we can be gentle with ourselves for having to make the decisions that we're making, the better, because we have to give ourselves grace. We're just all trying to do the best that we can. And if we can recognize that not only about ourselves, then we can also see that in other people, which will help us be more kind and gracious towards them too. Maybe it's like your boss that you don't think is making the best decision for your team or whatever. Your boss is probably making the best decision that they think that they can make at the time. So you don't have to agree with it, but if you can just kind of trust that everybody's just doing the best that they can, it really kind of alleviates a lot of stress around decision making. And then finally, the 2-minute warning is something that I often have to do in restaurants. Oh my gosh, dog. That I have to do in restaurants because there's so much food that I would like to eat, but I can only pick one thing. And so I have to set that timer for 2 minutes for me, just review everything quickly. And the fact is that you usually have a gut feeling on what to order, but somehow, some way, I've just gotten in this habit of being wishy-washy about it, even though I'm like, oh yeah, I want that. Then I start to look at everything else. No, if I see something that I like, I try and order it right away and close the menu. Like, I'm sure there's lots of things on the menu that could be amazing to order, but you just can't have them all. So learning to be okay with just making quick decisions like that in a very simple example can then help me make decisions quicker in other areas of my life. And not second guess them. I'm doing the best that I can. So I think that that's really the takeaway, is like, stop second guessing ourselves. We really need to just give ourselves a little bit of compassion. We can use strategies. There's more on the blog itself. We can use strategies in order to help us stick to that decision. But all in all, we have to trust our inner instinct to be able to do the thing that we want and just stick to it.